Fnaf is somehow still wild a year after I made my video about those controversies at the time, and yet over a year later we're still stuck in controversy or just something newsworthy apparently. Where do we begin? Well, just like last time, let's talk about Scott Cawthon. So last time I mentioned that Scott wasn't fully retired apparently, but I couldn't find my source. However, I technically wasn't wrong. Look at these photos. He was working on the Fnaf movie, so there we go. I don't look like an idiot. In all seriousness, I'm glad we still had Scott Cawthon work on the movie about his games, cause if it was just Jason Blum putting his all into it, I sort of fear what he would have come up with, but at the same time I'm curious what would have happened if they let him cook. Nonetheless, it's still good to see Scott still going for one last run and leaving us with that movie he's teased us about since 2019. What's next on the list? Ah, the Fanverse Initiative. Well then, this didn't age well. Well, I mean, it's still not dead, but some of the stuff we were promised are not going to be delivered, it seems. And we'll get to that, but let's tackle each member once again. Starting with Jonochrome. Nothing's changed here. Man, this guy was on a high note after the Theft King stuff, showing his professionalism about being the spokesperson for the fanverse. But how are you gonna say something stupid like this? Well, personally, I don't really care that he said it. I'm more upset that he didn't keep up his high standard of being professional. If you're gonna claim to be the spokesperson of the fanverse, then make sure you keep that standard up. This part isn't necessarily controversial, but I just find it so funny. When Kane Carter found out that Markiplier didn't even know what FNAF Plus was, he tweeted out, "Who on Markiplier's team is showing him games like Locked in Sewer?" To which Markiplier responded, "You think I have a team?" King Carter immediately backpedaled and started asking Mark to play some games from the fanverse, and in that moment, all I see is this. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that ordeal. Let's move on to Fnaf. Oh no. Fnaf. Yikes. Okay, so I really enjoyed watching Fnaf play the heel of the FNAF community, but midway through watching this video at first, I thought he was being a coward, but after hearing what Direct Doggo said, the dev of Day Shift at Freddy's, he makes a really good point. Quote, "If there's evidence that some of your fans are sending people gore, you should have the cop on to condemn it instead of joking about it. Being cheeky online is one thing, but you can't ignore behavior like this from your own fan base when it comes to light. Take responsibility," end quote. And you know, before hearing that, I just thought, why can't the guy just... But if it's your fan base that's doing this, I can see why you shouldn't ignore it. I have so much respect for Direct Doggo and can understand why Fnaf looks up to him for moral guidance. And in the end, I have to agree, Fnaf brought this community himself, so he has a responsibility to take action. I'm no apology video expert or anything, but some of the things he says in this video tip me off the wrong way, like this whole "do you know how it feels" segment. Do you know how it feels for people to regard you as something you're not? Do you know how it feels for people to assume you know more than you do? Do you know how it feels to not only be regarded as special, but also in a position to be in charge of actions of tens of thousands of people even though you were never prepared for that? Do you know how it feels? Do you know how it feels? We get it! While me personally, I don't know what it's like to be in charge of the actions of tens of thousands of people. There are some people that do know and have been able to do that successfully. Markiplier, dude! We were just talking about him! I also have this mindset that if you're not ready to have an audience, you shouldn't put yourself out there. Don't do YouTube, don't do social media. If you don't have the mental capacity to handle that, Fnaf appears to be on the list of people who aren't ready to have an audience. Alright, whatever. Fnaf, your apology gets a 6 out of 10. It was alright, but you played the victim card, and no, you are not that. Nixon, the guy whose game I'm most excited about. What's that? He's transphobic. I apologize, so we're all good. Release date when? I think he killed someone? So Security Breach's Ruin DLC came out and I played it and a lot of other people did. Hi Mark! One thing that was said about the DLC as we were waiting for its release was that it was gonna save Security Breach. No, it did not. The base game is still boring as hell and you can't pay me any amount of money to play it again. Oh my god, this game is bad. Not sure I did enjoy Ruin, but uh-oh. What'd I do? Oh. Well, that's great. I fell through the map. Ruin is gonna save Security Breach. I feel like I'm playing Security Breach again. Something that was brought to my attention by my good pal Aiden was that a character called the Mimic was in the DLC and that it's a book character. What kind of story relies on external media to fully explain the story? This dude comes out of nowhere for the games, but if you read the books, you would know who this guy is. But frankly, I don't want to dish out $15 to read a book about a character when you could easily have explained him in the games. Yeah, sure, games have a budget to them, but you don't have a time limit on how long your game should be, so why not have them explained in the games and not have me read external media? Anyways, enough about that. Room was fun, I guess, but I was told it was going to be dark and scary. Spoilers, I'm not scared of this, I'm not scared of that, and I'm certainly not scared of that. In my last video, we saw the battle between Theft King and Kane Carter, where Theft King just acted like an absolute man-child towards Kane Carter, and it did not end well for him at all. Now, it's been well over a year since that happened, and well, what had happened afterward with Theft King after all the drama? Well, he went back to doing what he was doing. He kept making commentary videos on FNAF fan games and current FNAF events. In the moment I did unsubscribe, but I never stopped watching. I wasn't watching every video, but I was watching here and there. That wasn't until one video really caught my eye. I was blackmailed for $10,000. This video has a content warning, so I won't fully go over it, but I really suggest you go watch it when you can. To summarize it, Theft King was a heroin addict, and an old friend of his blackmailed him with a video of him doing it back when he was 19 years old. Go watch the video yourself. I can't do it justice, but after watching that video, I started respecting Theft King once again. I'm very anti-drug, so seeing that Theft King was able to fight his addiction, I honestly respected him for it. It sucks that he did it in the first place, but I'm glad he was able to escape his addiction in the end. Theft King from this point onward would review and talk about FNAF VHS series, and it really helped out with finding creators like Spectra and Reach Animation, two FNAF VHS YouTubers I love watching. It's a shame that controversy didn't truly leave Theft King alone, but he's doing well for himself now. He started his own VHS series, and this call to action is just amazing.
Also, these puppies and kittens are with you, but only if you subscribe to Theft King. If you don't subscribe to Theft King, the puppies and kittens will abandon you.
I gotta use that, hold on. Look at these puppies. If you don't subscribe right now, these puppies are gonna eat you. Subscribe. Subscribe to the sheep man. Theft King, if you're somehow watching this video, first of all, I love the VHS stuff. Also, can I potentially voice act for any of your VHS stuff you're working on? I'd be honored. Thank you. What's next on the list of things I talked about last year? Oh yeah! The last time I talked about oh yeah, it was just to compliment his videos, but mostly just to talk about how he made a whole video talking about the Five Nights at Sonic series, cause to me, that was just unheard of. He's still doing FNAF fan game reviews, but one thing that stood out from this past year was his video on Sister Location. I never liked Sister Location, but everyone in the community seemed to like it, so I thought I was just a black sheep in the crowd. But finally someone said it. This video got so much attention that even MatPat talked about it.
Recently, I think it's the Yeah channel who did like an hour-long review of Sister Location being like, I don't like that one. And I'm like, I never did either, so I'm glad that someone else is actually seconding me on that one.
Thank you, yeah. Have a good day. To wrap this segment up, he's just been talking about FNAF content farms, regular content farms, and recently, Skibidi Toilet. Oh wait, he also got his Garden of Ban OC in an animated series. 1 year. 1 year was all it took for all this to happen. Scott coming out of retirement, Security Breach was hated, and the fanverse still had hope. And only one of the members were cancelled. Theft King was just hated overall, and oh yeah stayed the same. Am I gonna make another video like this next year? Probably not. But if something equally or more wild happens in this community, sure, I'll do a part 3. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.